Hi guys, here I am again with another Christmas chutney that I'm going to make. I had, if you remember, the last one that I made was a pear and cranberry and walnut chutney, and very nice it was too. So I still had some cranberries left over. I had half the packet and here they are. And I thought, so what can I do to use those up to make another Christmas style chutney? And I thought, well, I want to make a hot one. You know, I want to make it so as it's got all the Christmas spices in it, but I want to make it so it's got a good fire, so as you can have it with the cold turkey and that sort of thing, get a real spice in your mouth, you know. And I thought, well, I know. I tell you what they have with Indian food often is mango chutney. And I thought, wow, mangoes and cranberry, they're going to go together well. But what I want to try and do, and see if it works, is to make a hot mango chutney, but instead of using the Indian spices, you know, the cumins, the corianders, the fenugreeks and the turmerics and all those kind of things, and then put the fire in it, I thought, I wonder if you put the Christmas spices, the allspice, the cinnamon, the nutmeg and the cloves, and put the fire in it, I wonder if it'll work. So here we are. I've no idea. We're going to give it a whirl. Now, I've spared you the performance of the peeling and the slicing of the mangoes. A guy in the UK who's very famous in the UK called Terry Wogan. All of the British viewers will know who he is, but for the American viewers, he's a very famous breakfast DJ, breakfast show DJ. But also a huge television personality, a very humorous Irishman, and he always says the only safe way to eat a mango is naked standing in the kitchen sink, and he's absolutely right. I was absolutely covered in juice and slipping everywhere in a right performance, so I saved you watching that. So they're already cut up and in the saucepan, and I'm just finishing. I've had 4 really ripe mangoes, and I've just added to that 2 medium size, I suppose, onions. I should just finish cutting up the last of the onions, and I'm going to add that to it. That's the last of those onions. Also, I'm going to add, now I think I'm going to be really daring, there's only 4 mangoes, and that I think I'm going to put 3 of these bird's eye chilies in. Now that's going to be hot, but I fancy it being almost not unbearable, because there's no point in making food. I don't think. You know, there's all these competitions that the lads have, you know, with each other. See who can eat the hottest curry, and I can't see a lot of point in that, to be honest with you. If it's purgatory to eat it, then I can't see much point in having it. But I do want this to be, you know, really quite. Oh, that's quite something. So I think I'm going to risk putting 3 of these in here. My little knife is so blunt, I cannot believe it. I hate working with blunt instruments. And this needs a really good sharpen, but there we are. I've struggled my way through that bit of onion and those chilies. So that is going to be a lot of chili. In fact, I might just chicken out and not put all of that in there. Right, so with all of that, I'm going to put plenty of garlic in, of course. So we need the good old famous garlic crusher, and we'll chuck that in there now. Okay, so that's got to go in. There'll be 4 cloves of garlic. See if we can stick those 2 smaller ones in at the same time. There we go, that's lovely. We love garlic. And that's that one, and the last one to go in. Oops. And there we are. Now I've just realised while I'm talking to you that I've forgotten one of the essential ingredients up here before starting my video, which is typical of me. So I'm going to have to put it in when I've gone off camera, because I've got to go and fetch it and peel it and all of that. But that's ginger. Okay, we're going to want a large piece of ginger. I would say a piece of root ginger that's all, you know, a good 2 or 3 inches long and a good inch in diameter. Real plenty of fresh root ginger in there. to go with the last of the onions. They need to go in. And I think what I'll do with these chilies is I'll put 2/3 of it in. I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing that far away. I shall put 2/3 of it in, and I shall leave the last bit, and I shall taste it once it starts to get a boil away. And if I think there's still room for a bit more fire, then I'll put a bit more fire in. Now, the rest of the cranberries, they've got to go in. And I've got 8 ounces of white sugar. Again, you all know now why it's white sugar. I want to keep that lovely orange colour of those mangoes mixed with the red colour of the cranberries. With any luck, it'll come out a real sort of peachy kind of colour. And you put brown sugar in there, and I'll tell you what colour it'll come out. There'll be no peachy colour, it'll be brown. So white sugar, 8 ounces. Of course, all these measurements, for all you guys who worry desperately about getting it to the last ½ ounce, they'll all be on the website as usual. Half a pint of cider vinegar. This is just, these bottles are just over half a pint, 350 mils, which is, I don't know, just over half a pint. So I just put the whole lot in. It's quite mild, you know, because it's a nice quality cider vinegar. It doesn't really matter if there's a bit too much in there, because when it boils away, it doesn't really leave too much of an acidy aftertaste, because it's a good quality cider vinegar. You know, the better the quality, you know, the better the flavours you're going to get. Right then, it's going to be Christmas spices. So, allspice. I think we'll have in there. Now here's my trusty measuring spoons. I've rooted these out. I've been struggling trying to pour this onto an ordinary teaspoon, because of course, needless to say, an ordinary teaspoon just doesn't fit in the neck of the jar. So I've hunted these out, and this is the ½ teaspoon measure by the look of it, and it fits nicely. So I'm going to want a whole teaspoon, I think, in there of ground allspice. So that's going to be 2 of these ½ teaspoons for those mathematicians of you. That's 1, and another one. I think that's probably going to be alright for allspice. Very strong stuff. So there we go. Now then, what else have we got here? We want the cinnamon. We want plenty of cinnamon. So I think a good 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, which is 4 of my ½ teaspoons. In fact, what's left in there, I would say, is about it. I'm right at the bottom of the jar, but 2 teaspoons. I'm just going to pour the lot in, because fiddling about trying to get it out, I'm sure that is about 2 teaspoons worth. Okay, so that's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And now for the clove, ground cloves, only less than half, I would say ¼ teaspoon, the tip of a teaspoon, because they are so powerful. You just don't want to overpack. There's no way getting it out, you know. Once it's in there, you're stuck with it. So that's about ¼ teaspoon of cloves. Okay. And then I'm going to, as usual, I'm going to grate my nutmeg in off camera, because it's just boring you standing there watching me grate it in. Use a microplane grater. They grate nutmeg brilliantly. And again, a good teaspoon of nutmeg. So we're going to do that, boil it all up. I've got to add the ginger. Don't forget to do that. Of course, it'll be on the recipe, but I'm going to add the ginger as well off camera, because I've got to prepare it and everything. And I shall boil it up, and we'll come back and see what we've got. See if this hot but winter spice mango chutney works. So, till then, goodbye. Hi guys, so here we are a couple of hours later, and the mango chutney seems to be a success. I'm a little bit disappointed, I suppose, in the colour. I was hoping for it to be a little bit lighter, but I suppose I was asking a bit much, because of course it's got all those dark coloured spices. The cinnamon, the cloves are really almost black, and the allspice, ground allspice is a really dark brown colour. And of course the cranberries are just so bright red that they kind of sort of took over. But we have got a very nice colour to it, although it's not what I wanted. It's a lovely sort of gingery, light brown with a reddish sort of tone. If I can hold that up to the camera, you can see that pretty clearly. But as far as flavour is concerned, it is absolutely fantastic. I put in the ginger, as I said I was going to. I also grated in the nutmeg. And I did put the full 3 of those bird's eye chilies in the end. And it's turned out not to be too hot, which is nice. You don't want it to blow your head off, but it has got a really good kick to it. It really leaves a warm sensation in your mouth, which is what I was trying to do. And it's lovely and sweet, really sweet, like mango chutney should be, and got all those Christmas spices and that warmth from the chilli. You know, this is a winner. I would certainly be happy to serve this up on a Christmas supper table. It's absolutely delicious. So we managed to achieve what we wanted to, a really hot but Christmas spiced mango chutney. Of course, the recipe, for those of you who want it, will be up on my website. You can see the URL there, www.mypicklesandjams.com. And until next time, guys, goodbye.